He's the executive director of the Senior Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl, as we said, coming up this Saturday. It's really all about this week, though, man, as preparation and practice begins today over in Mobile. If you're a football fan, you would extend your football weekend. It's a great opportunity, especially with only a 2-hour drive here from South Louisiana over to Mobile to check out some really good football coming up this Saturday right on the Gulf Coast. And Nagy is kind enough to start the week with us here on Off the Bench, ESPN, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. Jim, good morning. How are you?
I'm great, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
Always. We've got the Prince, Derek Panamsky, sitting in with us for today's show as he's celebrating still a little bit on the high of the national championship. But we were talking last segment about a bunch of the guys that he's sending your way, and Lloyd Cushenberry was a big name that you got late in the process last week. I asked Derek if Lloyd might be the toughest to replace outside of Burrow. He said he couldn't answer it because he's not an X and O guy, but you are. Tell me what you get with Cushenberry now that he's on the roster.
Yeah, we were really excited about that. You know, we can add juniors now if they get their diplomas, and you know, so when he announced, called over to LSU, and those guys couldn't have recommended Lloyd more highly. You know, two-time All SEC and first team All American or second team All American and a captain. Really excited. You know, he made a big jump. We watched him last year on sophomore tape just to make, just in case this happened, that we had a little background on him as a player, and he made a big jump this year as a junior. I mean, his junior tape was significantly better than his sophomore tape. So he looks like a guy that's just kind of scratching the surface at the position. But, you know, for a center, he's long. I mean, a lot of centers nowadays are a little more sawed off. I mean, he's long, he's strong. No issues anchoring the pocket. Really smart. You know, center is one of those positions too. You really rely heavily on what the coaching staff say about him because it's such a makeup related position. And Lloyd Cushenberry, I mean, you talk about A pluses across the board. And getting him here in Mobile just last night, I can understand why. I mean, what a great guy to be around. And he's got the number 18. And Jacob Hester kind of called us out on social media the other day if we were going to give him 18, and we're going to get him 18 for the game.
Lloyd!
Wow.
Yeah, we're sending the jersey back out to Oregon, and they're ripping the nameplate off the 18 of the player we were going to give 18, and they're putting Lloyd's name on it. So I told him that last night. He was really fired up. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm glad you guys are having me on this morning because we've got all these LSU
that's
guys
really cool.
in the game, and I know it's probably just your fan base over there has just got to be all stirred up right now and purple and gold crazy, and love to get those guys to come over and show their appreciation for what these Tigers did, and they're putting on the helmet for the last time on Saturday, and Lloyd will put on that 18 for the first time, so it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, Jim, one of the good advantages that I have in my job is that I get to present the guys when they get the invitations to the different and all-star games, and there's just a separate type of energy that guys get when they get that Senior Bowl invitation. For you and the opportunity to work with you've done a really good job of making sure diligently that as the season went on, you continue to add guys. Now that you see the difference between a really good team and a team that's a national champion, you've kind of revisited and added some guys. And I know last week with the opportunity to invite Damien Lewis and Lloyd Cushenberry, that was very well received by those guys and by everybody in our program.
Well, yeah, and you speak to Damien, that's exactly right. I mean, he's a guy. How lucky are we here? Like the week before the game, to add a Damien Lewis. I mean, he's a really good player. He's been there for a long time. Talk about a guy that can anchor. I mean, that guy doesn't get budged. He's probably not going to fit for every team at the next level. He's more of a man scheme offensive lineman. So, some of the zone stretch teams that do a lot of stuff laterally, he won't fit for. But the teams that do run more of a man gap scheme, they love him. I came to this job from the Seattle Seahawks, and that's what we were. And that he's going to fit perfectly for a team like that. And again, just like Lloyd, those two guys drove over with Greg Stringfellow yesterday, LSU equipment extraordinaire, and so they got in and spent a little time with both those guys, and two great guys, and we're excited about that. And the other guy I want to talk to you about with the LSU is he speaks to how great that football team was this year. Was Stephon Sullivan is in our game.
Wow.
And, he's going to be a late round pick probably. But he's 6'5", he's 230. I mean, you guys have seen him. He's a really generous target.
The specimen.
And reminds me of Darren Waller when I scouted Darren Waller coming out of Georgia Tech. Now Darren's the starting tight end for the Oakland Raiders. I think they're very similar, as college prospects. And he barely. I went to a couple games this year. Florida and Alabama. He barely broke a sweat. You've got draftable NFL players on that team that couldn't get off the bench. So this is a big week for Stephon, and he knows that. We talked about it yesterday. But a really talented guy. But it just speaks to just how awesome that LSU team was this year.
Joined by Jim Nagy here on ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl, Reese's Senior Bowl, with practice getting going this week. You mentioned all the LSU guys. I know with the Cincinnati Bengals coaching staff being down there representing one sideline, there was hope that Joe Burrow may be down for practice week. What's the updated status on Burrow, and may he be maybe he down there participating?
The hope was just to get him to Mobile. I mean, I'm not crazy either. I mean, a lot of people thought I was delusional, thought that we were going to get Joe on the field and doing a lot of football stuff. I never thought that. He's in a position. He's played his way into a position in this year's draft where that wasn't really necessary. I mean, let alone he's coming off a game less than a week ago that he got beat around in pretty good. So no, we just wanted to get him here to spend some time with Cincinnati, but Joe and I had a great talk the other night. He called me after they got back from D.C. We talked for about a half hour, and great talk. And he's a just man. I haven't respected a quarterback coming out like this, and the way he plays, and the way he handles himself. Wow. But we had a great talk, and he's gonna go home, and he said he wanted to go eat some of Mom's cooking for a couple of weeks and just decompress. And I get it. I mean, what that kid's been through since I met him last summer in Thibodaux at the Manning passing camp to right now. I mean, that's the first thing I said to him on the phone. I said, "Boy, has your life changed?" And he just started laughing. He's like, "Yeah, Jim, you have no idea." So we had a great talk. But no, we're not getting him, unfortunately. But I'm going to be his biggest fan when he goes to the next level. He's a great player and a great kid.
Now, it's my duty to remind everybody. He told everybody at the Manning Passing Academy what was coming.
He did,
and they rolled their eyes at him.
Wait,
he knew.
Now, Jim, though, when you were at the Manning Passing Academy, how many reporters were trying to talk to Joe?
Very few.
I mean, that right? He would just be mauled today.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing the trajectory that he was on, and it's going to be one of those things I'll look back on. I'll remember this year. I'll remember meeting him at the Manning camp and watching him there. And I did say, I would have never predicted the season you had. I'm not gonna go out there and say that, but I do remember we were in the office over the summer and we watched 4 games on Joe. And I looked at our scouting assistants. I'm like, this kid's way better than I thought he was. The numbers didn't really reflect it last year. But when you go back and you really study the tape, he was pretty darn good last year. So maybe not number 1 overall pick, great, but he was good. I couldn't have foreseen this, and even talking to his dad through the process, trying to get Joe here, he even said, he's like, "Jim, none of us saw this coming." But so cool that it did. There was never a drop off. I mean, every game it seemed like he got better. So it's gonna be fun to see him at the next level.
Sooner or later, people will realize that Joe Stradamus knew what he was doing.
Hey, wait, Jim. So so Delu, Lloyd, Stephon Sullivan. Are there any more LSU guys?
Fulton.
Okay, Christian Fulton.
Christian Fulton and Blake Ferguson.
Nice.
And, the long snapper. So that's a funny story. So I went to the Florida game, and Blake had already committed to come play in the Senior Bowl, and he walked over to me 3 minutes before the game and took his helmet off and extended his hand to shake my hand. That's uncomfortable. I didn't want the LSU coaching staff mad at me talking to their players. So I didn't want to totally snub him either. So I shook his hand. I'm like, Blake, I can't talk to you right now.
Blake, get out of here.
I'm like, get out of here. But no, he's awesome. We had a laugh about that yesterday when he got in.
So what's the week? How's it lay out? Because we were telling our listeners, man, if you're a football fan, if you want to extend your football watching, especially from a live standpoint, it's a quick trip over to Mobile, and you get to see a bunch of the top prospects entering the NFL draft. I know that you're saying over there at the Reese's Senior Bowl is that the draft starts here. What's the schedule look like this week?
Yeah, so weigh-ins are tomorrow. Today's a big interview day for the guys. They're really going to knock out a bunch of that stuff. They got their physicals yesterday. Tomorrow morning is weigh-ins. There's practices tomorrow afternoon. Both squads will practice tomorrow afternoon. Same thing Wednesday and Thursday. Tomorrow's just going to be uppers, shoulder pads, and helmets, and then Wednesday, Thursday, real physical, full padded practices. They come off the field on Friday. We go out and into the community and go to children's hospitals and schools and try to give back a little bit. And then on Saturday it's game day. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean the draft starts here. We came up with that in the off season. We had 93 players drafted last year, 40 in the first 3 rounds and 10 first-round picks. And that the 93 figure that was 37% of last year's draft. So the hard part for us promoting the game sometimes is there's a bunch of first-round picks in this game that nobody's heard about yet. They really start becoming first-round picks here in Mobile. This is where they really make their mark. So, we've got big names like Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts and things
Nice.
like that, and things like that. Quarterbacks always kind of drive the bus in terms of fan interest anyway. But that's why when you can give them raw numbers, like you come over here and you're going to see almost 100 draftable players. It's pretty special. It's really unique. We feel really blessed to be here along the Gulf Coast and have this event. So again, we'd love to have a little caravan from Baton Rouge come over and check out on game day or practice and support these LSU guys. It's the last time they're putting on the purple and gold and the Tiger helmet. So love to have them over. And again, it's a really affordable ticket. We've got $10 tickets. I paid that for an Alabama high school playoff game this year that I went to. So it's going to be a great day. We're already calling for 65 degrees and sunny on Saturday. So should be a great day, and we'd love to have some Baton Rouge folks over, Louisiana folks come over for it.
1:30 kickoff on Saturday over at Ladd Peoples Stadium in Mobile. You can learn more about it and purchase your tickets online at seniorbowl.com. He's the executive director on the event. He's been coming on with us since SEC Media Days, since we met him. Great relationship, great event. Y'all kill it this week. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, thanks, fellas. Appreciate you having me on.